Hello on YouTube, and welcome to another episode of my Singularity Let's Play series. This is Northstar. I hope you're well, are taking care of each other, and being kind to yourselves. Just got a new research level here. I'd been working towards that for a while. Been boosting ideas. um, sorry, some testing. Guess my voice is just getting a little weak because I'm tired. It's later than I thought. Time flies sometimes, I guess. All right. So I've got the fungus exploration here. Uh, boom. The ghost orchid and growth in my seal network. Defense alert. All fun. Uh, bu- 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 bu. Apparently, there's a lot more fungal cleaning. Grab. So for those new to my channel, welcome. Returning viewers, welcome back. As I think I agreed to you guys a second ago. I'm really loopy at this point, but new viewers, you should know I'm disabled from COVID. It affects my cognition. I can get kind of loopy like this. I apologize, but I desperately trying to grow this channel because it's a matter of hope of surviving, especially right now with the Social Security Administration is fighting my disability claim. I mean, they're utterly ridiculous. They claim that I could adapt to different work from what I did before when I can barely function most of the time because of the brain fog and very low energy with the long COVID. It's ridiculous. They're just, working to minimize the number of people they help, partly because every person who really shouldn't be working is desperately searching for work and help to drive down wages and make the rich, the owners of capital, even richer. This is the nature of capitalism. Some of you may not think so, but many of you probably never actually stopped to seriously consider these things. You just, like most people, go on autopilot about what you believe about the world and never stop to critically examine. Uh, Not all of you, but some of you. Others may, of course, have bought into the capitalist propaganda as I did at one time when I was younger. It creates some arguments that are bullshit but are hard to debunk without really spending a lot of time focusing on them. Um, get programmed with some nonsense arguments, and we all have things to do besides examining the political beliefs we were raised with all the time. And heck, I worked as a political organizer for a while, so I had a lot more reason to do so than most people. Even then, that's about, well, helping the chosen candidate party who you're trying to help win, not so much about examining whether they're the person who should win in the first place. I mean, I actually knew the person was trying to help win was kind of shit, just better than the person they're trying to beat, lesser of two evils nonsense. But I didn't realize how totally borked the two-party system really was at that point in my life. How utterly controlled it is by a handful of billionaires and how the things we can even discuss are controlled and limited. Oh yeah, let's grab the epsilon module here. Didn't mean to do that for a while. And do I save up for the eta module? Or some upgrades available, aren't there? Let's see. Idea production. This is really like a 4% increase in idea production for 12. Okay, not particularly efficient. Probably do want to save for the next module. Or grab an augment like the tardigrade. 1.1x boost entropy production. Oh yeah, that's very good. Compared to spending 4 times as much. Oh, and getting a much larger boost. Okay, yeah, the ADA module is better. All right. Guess it's not too surprising. The modules are generally extremely good but expensive. Let's see, what could I currently get? If we did upgrades, some simulation speed stuff here. Marino life efficiency. Oh, that's very, very good usually. Still, if I waited a while longer, I might be able to get 2 levels less than step 1. Quite a while longer. You know what? Let's just do the upgrades. Partly because I'd like to get the nanobot things for the exploration. Uh, boom. I mean, not that bit efficiency is bad, but this is actually better. Simulation speed helps ideas. Well, uh, knowledge fill discount. Yeah, knowledge converter. Boom. And more available upgrades. So you need a few fills to do the meta nanobit thing again. Um, can help to go up a few levels so you get more. Like so. More upgrades. That is. Boom. So if I were to, right now, it's already going to be able to get an entropy efficiency boost and even go that far. So boom. I get a whole bunch more and get more upgrades for next reset. Let's do this for a tiny, tiny second. I mean, grab field forms, a bunch of other cat stuff. Uniforms, marsupials, ungulates, apes, gilres. some Stone Age stuff for some idea bells too. Why not? All right. Boom, 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 boom. Music, humans, Haitians, and monotremes, or amphibians. Oh, Neolithic, why not? Bronze Age, which actually helped the entropy fill a little quicker, or was that an upgraded scrap that was? There are capacitors that have these benefit the, yeah, that is the capacitors kicking in. You can see that goes up even though that was just an idea thing. Banking, sextant, magnetic compass, galleon, Magellan, which does indeed belong in the age of exploration stock markets. Bomb, plastic information age. Been reading some Isaac Asimov novels. It's remarkable how he's always making plastic like this miracle material in some of his stories. He was way too fascinated with the stuff. It's, I mean, interesting, but also terrible material that is horrendously polluting the environment. All right, as far as the emergent age here, oh yeah, that does help the entropy gain. Moon base, concrete, Singularity, rovers. Cool. These things add simulation speed too. And Martian settlements, factories. And Martian seas. All the journeys they can. Boom. Boom, and I'm probably getting way too focused on getting the main simulation upgrades when I should be going for the fungus stuff here. Yeah, let's do the double or never get to pizza. That's the thing that remains is pizza. The pizza badge, which requires quite a few more things. The forest there. Fungal cleaners. I really just need to get a bunch more domesticated fungi. And its upgrades. building material next. Yeah, you can build buildings out of fungus. Mycelium is extremely strong. When dried, it is very durable, resistant to water, fire, and mold. Bricks made from sustainable mycelium are an experimental alternative to traditional building materials like concrete and wood. Yep, correct. Alrighty then. Take a quick peek at the Mesozoic Valley again. Oh, fine earnings. Yeah, yeah. Waiting is Steve. Yep, there's one of those. It's free. And back to the primary simulation. Be able to get a fully formed environment in reasonable time here. Or say Celians, actually. Even quicker. Just get that. Get a few more upgrade points here before um, want to restart this in a second. Rather than just sitting here and have you guys wait for this to snowball just a tiny bit more, grab the Sicilian upgrade, and then I am going to, I think, pause this. It's running a little bit. Pause the recording, that is. And right, you guys can see when it comes back in a tiny bit. This is something new for me. Usually I just end the recording if I'm gonna pause it, but I'm just leaving the clicker idle for a second to compound interest stuff. Not to compound, but for the investments I made to pay already to pay off. Could be worthwhile. Also, this gets all the capacitors to kick in. Let's give this a shot. Let me know if you enjoyed this, viewers. And back. Really dragging here, so I'm gonna have to finish this up. Boom. I can leave that. Upgrades for a bit. I don't want to instantly restart it. Material, pesticides. And now, medicine. It's important stuff. That reminds me that I was trying to become a doctor before I was disabled long COVID. I was going to make it too. I was going to be a very old medical student, but better late than never, right? Except it became never because a freaking virus left me disabled and unable to achieve my dreams. Unable to even finish the special master's program I was in. That all I needed to do was a research project and another one that was uh, co-temporal, I believe is the phrase. It was occurring at the same time, but with the classes in the second year, so still had a couple classes with that one left. Unlike with the special masters where it's just research projects, and I already gotten straight A's in all the non-research. I mean, technically, research was a class and got a grade, but yeah, I got screwed quite badly. uh, and now, rather than honor the great effort I made to do something enormous for society, because physicians are really important, the work they do, and all the years I sunk into school, which is not easy, especially not when you're getting straight A's and studying just all the time. Uh, and all the unpaid research work I did, and the paid work I did for the university where I did my first master's, which definitely should have earned SSDI work credits, but didn't because of a stupid rule in the 90s. Before that, such work would have earned SSDI work credits. And on all those things, they cheat me out of SSDI no matter what, and they're fighting me on SSI and may screw me out of that as well. We really do have an evil system. It doesn't care what you did, how sick you are. It will say that you can really work when you can't, and it will not honor your previous achievements because it is vile, and capitalism is vile, and it needs to be abolished. That is absolutely, absolutely clear to me. We need to do away with capitalism. Um, and if those of you disagree with that would discuss it honestly in good faith instead of from the I'm right and I don't want to hear anything you have to say kind of way that people do internet discussions too often, I could absolutely convince you of that too. Not always as loopy as I am right now. Sometimes I can, for brief periods, just, say intelligent things. Unfortunately, that does not mean work when, a couple hours of clarity in a whole day is not enough to do any job. It is enough to um, convince some of you folks, maybe leave an impact on the world of society. Screws me totally. And I am seeking disability lawyers. Well, I've already started intake with some of them, and we'll hopefully be able to win administrative law judge hearing and actually get SSI. But if I really get screwed and the system just fights me until I run out of money and become homeless and die, because I will die if I become homeless, long COVID leaves my body much less able to adapt to stress than a normal person's body. And so the stress of, say, being out in the street in the cold some winter, most people, it's very difficult on their body, but for someone with long COVID as severe as mine, I will literally keel over and die. Shelters are usually not open during much of the middle of the day, and they just kick people out and expect them to go wherever. And that's why you see them out on the street, which is stupid. If they were serious about actually keeping people safe, they would allow people to stay there during the day. The only place that's different is usually are some of the youth homeless shelters. I volunteered at one. Sometimes they allow, if they're well behaved, some people to hang around during the day. Not always, though. Sometimes they were lined up at the door. Um, so even then, there were days where they would have to be outside and possibly exposed to elements. And yeah, we don't put enough money into, say, public housing in this country. We still charge rent for it, which if someone is, say, been denied SSI when they should be getting it, when they legitimately are unable to work, then you can easily see how they wouldn't even be able to pay the public housing rent. Capitalism is vile. Capitalism is absolutely evil. And the reason the system is this way is because of capitalism, because who makes the decisions about how the bureaucracy is structured, what the priorities are of, say, the Social Security Administration? The billionaires, because they own the government. We do not live in a democracy, we live in an oligarchy, and people are maybe some people finally starting to wake up to this. I think there's this false optimism about how many people realize it. You see too often people like, oh, America's finally wake up. No, a few Americans are waking up, but it's going to take probably a lot more shit. It might take all the way to gas chamber type concentration camps for disabled before people wake up to how evil this administration is. Because, yeah, that's where we're headed. That was actually the first group the Nazis gassed, was the disabled. They started off with them, and then they moved to other groups, such as LGBTQ individuals, the Roma, and of course the Jews. But the Nazis started with disabled. That was the very first group. They quietly killed off the mentally disabled first, and then the physically disabled. The mentally disabled, of course, are less able to in any way resist it. But people who were, like paraplegics, for instance, they went in, they quietly had, they pressured doctors to quietly give them lethal injections, which is, I guess that's not gassing them. I shouldn't say gassing because they didn't have the gas chambers yet, but they lethal injection disabled is still killing them. And yeah, that's the kind of way that the Republicans are headed. It may seem insane now, but history, it may not repeat itself, but it certainly does rhyme. And Trump has openly taught to one of his own relatives who has a mentally handicapped child about why don't they just let that child die. So these are the sort of people who would do that again. Not necessarily every fascist movement, but MAGA, yeah, they would absolutely start killing off the disabled if they became powerful and unstoppable enough. They're already doing it indirectly with attacks on Medicaid, food stamps, public housing, all the things that disabled people need to survive because they're not able to work. And even rules about private disability insurance. So if you were lucky enough to be in a position where you're able to afford to buy private disability insurance and didn't get screwed out of, well, that's actually what they're changing, is they're making it easier for private disability insurance to screw people and refuse to actually pay up when someone becomes disabled. So, yeah. Or to stop paying if they've already been paying someone. I think there were a couple of cases of that, but mainly they've been changing rules to make it easier for private disability insurance to just refuse to pay up. The MAG has been doing that quietly. It's been getting no attention because they've been doing so many other things. They're vile. They're absolutely vile. Private disability insurance, may I remind you, is a private service that people paid for. Of course, people paid for taxpayer-funded services. I paid into SSI when I was healthy and paying taxes as an EMT and as a biologist directly when I was paid for work I was doing and then paying taxes. Even when they were not having certain university jobs pay payroll taxes, all the other taxes I was paying were absolutely, money is fungible from the government to a huge degree. And of course, junior researchers generate a lot of value that's extracted and paid to the senior researchers. It's like a little mini small business. Sometimes, in fact, often, junior researchers aren't paid at all. The majority of research work I did was unpaid. Some of it was paid. Actually, I did get work credits for the paid research work I did, but I didn't get work credits for the paid teaching work I did, or a fairly menial ticket collecting job I did as well, which was something like typical minimum wage work. But if I had been doing it while not a university student at that university, like still they had outside employees who weren't students, I would have been getting payroll tax. And I say getting because there's an employer contribution to it. That's why Newt Gingrich fought to create this exemption is to make it so that universities wouldn't have to pay in that matching payroll tax and could screw young people who got disabled because often push more threshold not getting SSI, SSDI, not SSI, sorry, SSDI, they wouldn't get the work credits, and that would save the whole system money, which would mean that it would effectively save money on a system that was being paid by payroll taxes from private employers for other jobs someone might work later or other workers might work, and ultimately reduce pressure to, say, raise the payroll tax ceiling or the contribution rate, the percentage. File. All right, well, enough of that. Hope you all enjoyed this video. It's almost long enough for me to cut into, but not quite. Until next time, take care of each other, be kind to yourselves, viewers, and may you always find a guiding star lead home. This is Northstar. Adieu. Best luck to you all.